answers to a couple questions I got last week, or have gotten over the last couple weeks leading up to the release of the stampyland.com site. I think that some of the best answers sometimes come from the best questions. And so if you ever have a question that you think might be answered in a little demo or a little tutorial or just a little hands-on, don't be afraid to leave a comment or shoot me an email at stampylandsusan@gmail.com, and we'll turn it into a tutorial, because like I said, I think some of the best tutorials come from your questions. The questions I get a lot is about storage of red rubber stamps, well, storage of any stamps. But what I want to show everybody is a real simple, real inexpensive way, especially this time of year with back to school, to store a whole bunch of stamps. This is just a repurposed 3-inch binder that I grabbed from one of my kids at the end of the school year last year. It's kind of beat up and everything, but it's not a big deal. But it's also, you can easy to find binders this time of year at Staples and Office Max and Target and Walmart, things like that. I would recommend getting a big one. This is a big 3-inch wide one. But inside, all I've used are baseball card sheet holders. And these I got actually at Walmart for 25 cents a sheet. I think I bought all of these individually. I know in the past I've used them for coupons, and I've bought entire cases, but I'm pretty sure these are all ones that I bought just individually for 25 cents a sheet. But they're made to hold a baseball card, a standard issue baseball card that you could slide your your pitchers and your catchers and everything in there. What I'm using them for are my unmounted stamps, my red rubber stamps. I don't usually put my cling mounted, my clear acrylics in here, because they're a little too sticky to slide in there, since they're front and back sticky. So I just keep my red rubber stamps in here. I have been keeping them in here. I'm trying to keep them a little bit more organized, but I'm also keeping them labeled. So that's what I wanted to show you, is the organization, because I usually need to know what the name of the stamp is. And if you guys are entering challenges, which you totally should be doing all the time at all the different blogs that do challenges, because it's fun and it keeps you on the edge and keeps you trying new things, they always want to know, what product you're using. So on this page right here, I've got, or the first couple pages, I've got the greeting farm. So whenever I get a greeting farm and they come on a big 4x6 sheet, I go ahead and trim them out as close as I possibly can. I really get my scissors in there close, just because it makes it a little bit neater for me to stamp. I don't always tend to be the most patient stamper, and I'm usually tossing ink pads and paper around. So the closer cut I can get on my unmounted stamps, the better it usually results in an image. And like I said, I only run across a couple every now and then that won't fit in this baseball card size. And my Lorelei stamps don't fit in here, and then some of the like the swings and the background stamps, the accessory stamps don't always fit, but a lot of the images do, and so that's why I've been using them. But what I also do is, so here's a whole sheet of 9 greeting farm. Okay, all lined up there in their little pockets. And then on the back, you can see how I label them. So I know what their names are. So I can get the glare off here. Woo! This one I don't have labeled. She's one I got at CHA last year, and I don't know who she is. She looks like a little can-can girl, but I can't find her name. But anyway, there's all the names on the back of there, and I just write them on there with a Sharpie. Just grab your Sharpie, whatever color you like. Dark color usually shows up best, and just write on there. It's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna make your foam not stick to your acrylic block. And as long as you let it dry for a couple seconds, it won't smear. If you stick it in the pocket too soon, it definitely will smear a little bit. But the acrylic, and what I like is that you can even see while you're stamping right through the block who you're stamping. It's a lot of times that I'll have several different acrylic blocks out working on a project full of different stamps each one, and I can look through the glass or the acrylic and see right which one I'm grabbing. So the Sharpie is not going to impact the usability of that. Here I have some CC Designs. Now this is one that I had to kind of finagle with a pocket. I use this swing a lot. It's one of my favorite stamps for the sitting images. I use this CC Designs I did the tutorial last week with this one. I used it for magnolias and for all different ones that are sitting, but it didn't fit because it's too wide. So I just took my scissors and snipped out this middle part and put a piece of Scotch tape, and it works fine. I mean, it's not beautiful, but it works. So I've got all these guys labeled, and I label them. I try to label them as soon as I get them. There's my Scrappy Crafts. I don't have my Scrappy Crafts ones labeled. I think it's because I just know their names by heart. There's all of my accessory pieces for the magnolia. There went my acrylic block. And then we get back to my magnolias, and I have all of them labeled. Tilda and Edwin's all the way around. Alright, the other thing I wanted to show you is, I'll do one right here. This is, I just got my first couple of Crafting Kimmy stamps yesterday. I ordered my first couple ones, and I got those yesterday. So I haven't even inked them up. I cut a couple of them, and I wanted to show you. This one is the Alicia the Strawberry Pirate, and she has a little accessory. What is he called? A parrot. So I'll cut him out, and then, like I said, I go in and I just trim her up. You should trim around it first. I know I have some friends that really, really like to keep their stamps on the full square or rectangle of rubber, and that's fine. I just think that, first of all, these fit in my storage pockets a lot better if I do this. And maybe I'm just a sloppy stamper, but I think it gives a better impression, and there's less chance of blotching on the final result. So then I'll go back and do the little cut-ins at her skirt line and by her arms. And these are just regular Fisker scissors. Get her trimmed as closely as I can. It's pretty forgiving. And I don't spend a ton of time. I just make sure that she's all cut out nice and close. Then I can't forget my pirate. And then what I will do here is I'm going to label her up. So this is Alicia, and I'll just put Alicia Strawberry Pirate. So she's going to go in one of my pockets. But as you can see here, I did some of my other ones, and because, like I said, it's always good for me because I'll be referring to them on blog posts. This one I labeled Lucy, and then the attaching sentiment that came with Lucy. Lucy had a little sentiment that says, no, that's not Lucy's. That is the other one. Here's Lucy's. Lucy has a sentiment that says, reading is food for the soul, and everyone deserves a fairy tale. But I marked her sentiments also, so that I knew, if I would use just this sentiment on with a different image on a different card, on a different page, whatever, I could at least refer to it quickly and say that this is the sentiment from the Lucy stamp of Kimmy Creations. And same thing with her little book. She's got a little book accessory here. Lucy is a student going back to school, sitting there reading, and she's kind of a tight fit because she's got some accessory pieces behind her, but it's okay. I just make her fit in there. So we're going to stick Alicia in here. She'll slide in there. And then Alicia the little pirate. And then I'll just, on here, I'll put Alicia. Her little pirate parrot. And she'll go in next to her, just so I know who belongs to who. So on the back, see, you can see I got a little carried away there with Lucy and slid Lucy in there too early last night when I marked her up. But anyway, the accessory pieces and the sentiments go with the main images. I'll label all those just so I know who they are, and so you know who they are. And in the matter of 3 inches, and let's see, right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sheets, and I probably could get 3 more, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 4 more. I'm trying to see how you probably get 4 more sheets in there before it's way, way, way too thick. And that to me, that's a lot of storage space. That's a lot of storage space, especially if you're one of my friends who collects magnolias and greeting farms and the Lala. All of those fit perfectly in here, and they can start taking up a lot of space if you're trying to keep them in a tub or with their cards. And I'm not a big person to keep the cards. This binder does happen to have a pocket in here, which if I was going to start cutting out masks, I would probably stick an envelope in here and keep track of what masks I was using, like we did last week on the swing. So, you know, put your binder to use, or put another pocket in here, another 8.5 by 11 pocket, and slide your masks and things like that in here. Or if you want to keep those cards, keep the cards in there so you can look at the images. All right. And then speaking of the new Kimmy crafts, or Crafting Kimmy, sorry, where did my block go? I wanted to show you, because I got a question when the Crafting Kimmies went live. A lot of people were that are just now getting into stamps were asking about the Unmounted. Now, normally, dyed-in-the-wool stampers will mount their unmounted stamps like this that are just the gray rubber. There's no foam on here. You look at one of the Lala stamps. They're on easy mount, okay? But like I said, I'm a crossover stamper, and I'm kind of a fast and furious stamper. So what I usually do is one side of my acrylic block almost always has a smear of adhesive on it. Can you see it there? I almost always have a smear of adhesive on any of my stamps, and then the other side is clean, so that this is the side I would use with a mounted stamp. Okay, she's going to go on there, on that side. And then I put my gray rubber unmounted on there. As long as, and this is what I have found, as long as I have like a mouse pad underneath and put the cushion on the bottom under the paper, I have not had a problem. Let's just ink her up. She's brand new. Virgin ink. Virgin rubber. As long as I have a little bit of foam and cushion underneath the paper, I personally don't miss that easy mount. Okay? Because there's a mouse pad under there. There we go. And there is Lucy, studying with her stack of books. She is so cute. She's going to be one of the first cards that my daughter gets when she's away at college. So that is why I got Lucy. All right, so, and then because I've not covered the whole back, I'm just literally doing a little smear of adhesive. It's fine. I just put it down, stamp it, and then peel it right back off. And then every once in a while this will get covered with dog fur and dust, and it'll be grody, and then I'll go in and take my undo and wash it off and give the acrylic block an overall cleaning, and then start all over again. So anyway, that's how I work with the unmounted gray rubber and storage of most of my image stamps, most of my little people stamps. All right, just some tips and tricks from me to you to answer a couple questions. That's a heck of a lot easier than typing out a bunch of responses, and then I can archive this and you'll always remember it, and I can always refer other people to it. If you have other questions or other crazy ideas that you want to see explored here on the Stampyland Challenge blog, shoot me an email or leave a comment below, and I will get your information and let you know that we're working on a challenge video. All right, thanks for tuning in to the Stampyland Challenge blog Tutorial Tuesday. I'm Stampyland Susan, here for Stampyland.com. All of the stamps I've mentioned are available today and ready for shipping at Stampyland.com. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.